After years of waiting and wanting, it's finally here. We finally have the Ring in 4K. How did it turn out? Is this Scream Factory collection worth $75? These are questions that I'm going to try and answer for you so you can make a purchase decision and see if this collection is worth it for you. Now, this reminds me of when we got the Halloween 3 films, and it was kind of one of those things where I think they knew nobody was going to just specifically buy Resurrection on its own for $35 or $40. So they're like, hey, let's bundle it in this collection. We'll charge $120 for it, and then people will buy it because they want H2O. For me personally, I don't know, that collection, I bought it because I wanted to round out, and I'm a huge Halloween fan, but I didn't need it. I actually prefer the Steelbook, the one that came out anyway. I think that one's way cooler with the leaves and the mask and everything. That's a cooler thing than what they did. But anyway, neither here nor there. That's not for this video. But we're going to talk about the video, the audio, the special features, the packaging. My one big gripe with the package, we'll talk about that. And that's, well, like I said, we're going to answer that. Is it worth it for you? And I'll kind of talk about my feelings on it as a whole. I really wanted The Ring. It's one of my favorite films. Where I was in life, I was in high school, and I just really, it kind of hit me at a time. I love Gore Verbinski. I like the look of this film. I like the vibe of this film. So altogether, it was a film that I have been waiting for in 4K, just like I'm sure many of you have. When I was thinking about this release, I did remember like, oh yeah, I do have a Steelbook, which I did get, and I really do like this thing. This is the one that they put out a few years ago for the anniversary from Paramount, and I think this thing's awesome. It was just a Blu-ray, but I really do like this, and so I might end up actually putting my 4K into this so it's actually like readily accessible on my thing, because getting into some of these box sets sometimes can be difficult. Like this one, now they sit, but they're like stuck in here. Now that's not a bad thing, but I had to like almost pry these out to begin with. They were very stuck in here. So let's show this off, and then we'll get into like my one gripe. And you can probably see it right now. You see that? See all that reflecting? That's not just my multiple lights I've got going on in the studio here. That is just the glossy nature of this. And I do want to show off because it's already happening here. Not sure if you can see it. It's already peeling here on the edge. So my big thing before we show off the other stuff is that typically when you get these Scream Factory sets, like here, I've got the Fly collection here, or, the Friday the 13th one, they're like a matte. They've got a little bit of gloss to them, but they're mainly a matte covering. This is pure gloss. It is a magnet for fingerprints. All the oil from your skin is going to get into this thing. And literally this thing, if you like hold it in the right light, is covered with fingerprints already, and you've only had it for a day or two. So it's one of those things. I'm not happy about that. Now, not that I'm going around touching this shit all the time. It's not like I'm just sitting here like this. I don't got any kids or anything like that. So nobody's going to be touching it. But it's going to be sitting on the shelf. But it's one of those things. I don't know why they opted for this glossiness that's going to get scratched and it's going to show fingerprints. That's my first big negative, is I really don't like the glossy nature of this casing. Even though it's really just going to be sitting on the shelf, I'm just not a fan of it because it is going to get very covered. Not that I'm like going to watch Rings on a weekly basis. But anyway, let's show off these. So each of these releases has the original poster art. Not a bad thing. I'm not going to gripe about that, but I wish we had some new alternate art for these. I wish they had commissioned some new alternate art. I kind of wish, honestly, that another distributor had gotten this. Now, you hear that? Isn't that nice? That's how I always get shit from Scream Factory. So it is just the Blu-ray, but still, it just does not sit in here. I have pushed this in multiple times, and it just keeps falling out. So again, typical Scream Factory, where something is dislodged at some point. At least it's just the Blu-ray of Rings, so it doesn't matter, right? That's the packaging. That's my one big thing. So one big nitpick is it's glossy. I really don't necessarily like that. The other one is I wish we had gotten new art for these as opposed to just having the poster art, which is fine. You also do get a poster with this. It's not a great poster. I would honestly rather just had a Ring poster, but it's just this front cover, but in a poster. I'm not going to do anything with that. But anyway, let's get into what you came for, and that is the video here. So I normally break these up into video and then audio and special features and all of that, and then talk about the film and should you buy it. Because we're talking about 3 films here, I'm going to be discussing the video and the audio together. The Ring is one of my favorite 2000s horror movies. It's just got a cool vibe. It's got a cool look. It's very green and blue, which was of the time, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, it does hold that and retain that, so I'm happy about that. This is a new 4K scan of the camera negative. All of the grain is intact. This is a horror movie that was shot on film, and it looks fantastic. fantastic. I love the way Gore Verbinski's movies look. Even if you don't like the actual like content of the movie, they're always shot very well. They always looked very good, and they always have a distinctive flair. You know, some directors where you're like, that's Christopher Nolan, that's Denis Villeneuve. Like, you can kind of tell their stylings. Gore is one of those for me. Like, I can kind of tell that it's his movie. And so I was very like hesitant about this transfer. Not that Scream Factory has done a bad job. I think a lot of their stuff lately has been very good, actually. I think The Darkman was fantastic. I'll link that review up below. You can check that out. On the audio front, this is a 5.1 and a 2.0 track, so it's the same audio, kind of ported over in typical Scream Factory fashion. You're not getting anything new on the audio front, which I think that's the bummer sometimes with Scream Factory, is that it's kind of the same audio all the time. And I think that's most of these companies, but again, not that we needed an Atmos track for The Ring. I don't know that it would have done anything. I'm a big audiophile. I'm a videophile to an extent, but the audio is really what does it for me, like on some of these things. And especially The Ring, that is a movie that has those quick jump cuts and scares. You know, I want it to be like room filling, and it does a good job. I think it sounds fantastic. When we get to Rings, that actually has a 7.1 track that we'll talk about. The Ring is a fantastic movie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how good The Ring is. I mean, you're clicked on this video, you love The Ring, and I also love The Ring. So I did a review a couple years ago on The Ring. Check that out. It's on the channel. I'll actually link it up here so you can see it. It's a very old video, so you know. But I really love The Ring. I could talk all day. We could have a 20-minute video about how much I love The Ring. But anyway, it looks fantastic. The grain structure is good. The Dolby Vision and the HDR is doing a lot. It's a very greenish blue movie. It looks fantastic, and I'm not disappointed as far as The Ring goes. The Ring 2, again, new 4K scan of the camera negative, has Dolby Vision, and I think this looks good too. I mean, very similar, obviously. It's directed by a different person, so this is not a Gore Verbinski movie. So it does have the same vibe as it, but it does, cinematic-wise, I think, cinematography-wise, it is very different. I think it's not shot as well. I don't really like this movie. So, I mean, again, it's a sequel because The Ring was super popular. I'm not a fan of it. I think it's fine. I mean, Samara is cool. I mean, so it's like I like it because I like Samara, and I think she's like a badass, cool, like villain per se. But this movie is not that great. That's the only problem with this, franchise as a whole, is that I think it's kind of just loses steam when you get there. But again, we're going to talk about Rings in a minute, and I do have some thoughts on that. But anyway, this has, on the audio front, a 5.1 and a 2.0 track. So again, the same thing ported over from the Blu-ray. So that's what you're getting here. But visually, it does hold up. I think it looks really good. I wouldn't say it's on par just because of Gore's look and everything, but for what this film is, I also think it does look very good. None of these films look bad. Now, let's get into Rings. Probably the most maligned of this franchise. The 2017 thing. Well, look at that. It's still shaking around. It still won't seat in the damn thing. What's the point? What are we doing? You know what? I could just throw that Blu-ray away. I'm never going to watch it. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting angry. There's not slimy things in here, which is a good thing. So Rings, the newest of them. This was coming out in 2017. This looks fantastic. As far as these transfers go, this looks incredible. It's obviously like shot more digitally. So when it comes down to it, it's not the best of them, but it's actually not the worst of them. I actually prefer this to The Ring 2, because at least at some point it's a very different movie than those movies. It's more of like a mystery film. It's more about like, hey, my boyfriend did this and now we're getting together. You got Galecki in here, and there's a shot, which I'll overlay some screenshots here, where he's kind of just staring into the TV when he first watches this. And dude, it just looks pristine. There is like grain there, but it's pristine. It looks so damn good. So, I mean, as far as that, it's the one bummer. It's the cleanest looking film. It's the best looking film, but not the worst one. So overall, this was a first time watch for me. I thought it was fine. Again, I don't have any expectations for this movie. I'd always heard that it was bad. It was fine. It's more on the side of it's boring. And so sometimes people are like, it's bad because it's boring. But I didn't think the mystery itself was all that not interesting. I thought it was fine. Again, there were some cool shots in this. Like there's one when he watches it and he goes out to like look outside and the rain is falling upwards. It's a pretty cool shot. I mean, so there's some cool stuff. The video itself is like digital and all of that. Looks very cool. There's some creepy stuff in there. So overall, it's not the worst movie. I think The Ring 2 is the worst for me because The Ring is so good and you're trying to continue on from that just as like a cash grab, and it doesn't work in any way. I don't think the story is good. So overall, At least Rings is like trying to do something different than the other ones, but again, low bar. So don't take it by me saying that it's decent as it's a good movie. It's not a good movie. Let's get into these special features now. We've talked about the video and the audio for each of these. This actually, so audio, I didn't even say. This has a DTS 7.1 track and a 2.0 track. This 7.1 track actually sounds fantastic. Like, as far as the audio goes for all of these, it's the best sounding track, like, out of all of them. I mean, the music is great, obviously, in the first one, so that's nothing to slouch about. But this one, just from a pure, like, audiophile standpoint, the 7.1 track is very good, and it does hit hard, and it is room encompassing. So as far as the audio goes, I'm not saying I'm a fan of like everything that happens in it, but when stuff is happening, it does kind of fill up. Like I said, that first scene where it's raining, you can hear that stuff everywhere, and it sounds very cool, and it kind of envelops you in it. So you're waiting, then the rain comes up. So it is cool. It's a vibe, man. It's a vibe. So anyway, let's get into these special features. And then, like I said, we'll round this out by kind of me telling you if it's worth it or not. So let's get into the special features. All right, on the special features side, on the Ring, we've got Don't Watch This, a collection of deleted footage. Then we've got a short film that uncovers the terrifying and secret connection between The Ring and its sequel, The Origin of Terror, cast and crew's interview, and a theatrical trailer. So pretty light as far as The Ring goes. So, I mean, you're not going to get much. It's pretty similar to the Blu-ray. When you get to The Ring 2, we've got obviously that, and then we've got Rings, again, a short film that uncovers a terrifying secret. I think this is the same one, which is kind of a bummer. So this is the same thing that connects it to the other one. I don't know. And then we've got The Ring and its sequel. We've got deleted scenes, Fear of the Film, special effects, Faces of Fear with the cast, Samara from Eye to Icon, The Power of Symbols, the making of The Ring 2, and a theatrical trailer. So we should get a making of here, which is pretty cool. And then let's get to the Rings here. We've got deleted extended scenes, including alternate ending, Terror Comes Full Circle, Resurrecting the Dead, Bringing Samara Back, scary scenes, and a theatrical trailer. So as far as a package goes, and, special features across these, pretty bare. This is probably the worst, like, accompaniment of it, where it's just kind of like, there's nothing new here. There is no new special features other than, like, a 4K master for all of these. There's nothing here. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things that sucks because you want a Ring collection to be bursting with special features, and it just really isn't here. But, I mean, I didn't expect a lot. Like I said, Scream Factory is not in the vein of like a Vinegar Syndrome where they're just going to pump money into new special features. So, I don't know. I'm pretty disappointed. As far as special feature goes, that's the worst part of this package because it's everything that you've already seen before if you already own these movies on Blu-ray, which is a bummer. So, if you already own the Blu-ray, the thing you're here for is the video. And, I mean, I know that's going to be the hard part. So, as we get into, is this worth it? As we round out the video, this is a very subjective thing because it's going to come down to how much you like these films or how much are you willing to pay for The Ring. Are you willing to pay $75 for just The Ring on 4K? I can't guarantee that most of you are. Now me, again, not all this is just me. This is YouTube. I don't mind doing some of these things because I know it's one of those things that people are very curious about when it comes to The Ring. I love The Ring. And so I would honestly, if I were you and you're just buying this for The Ring, I would just wait. I'm going to be honest. Unless you're a massive Ring fan or you actually enjoyed the sequel and maybe Rings, maybe you like them. And so for you, it's worth it. Or if you want the poster, or if there's something in the line of that. But for most of you, the average person, again, if you're not a massive fan of The Ring, I'd probably just wait for a sale. If this was $40, I think it would be perfect. Even $50 at $50 for 3 movies in 4K. I don't think that's bad. And I don't think it's a bad price, really, when you think about the movies as a whole. $75 for 3 4Ks. Not a bad deal. You're paying about 20-something bucks a movie. Not a bad deal. But when it's a collection of movies, again, like the Halloween one, where you're probably only here for one movie, what are you going to do? It's a harder sell than I think for some people. But again, I think that's going to be a personal thing you have to decide. On the video front, if you're just there for the video and you're like, hey, is this an upgrade? Is it worth the upgrade? I would say yes, 100% of the time. If somebody's just reselling these movies like separately, which some people might do, pick it up. So again, if you are a massive fan of The Ring, then I would highly recommend this. There's nothing, like the packaging is a little iffy. As a whole, I know typically I'm like glowing when I'm talking about these things, especially like some of the movies that I love. This is a harder one for me because I don't think it's an easy, like, yeah, just go buy it. Like The Darkman, you should own that movie. You should already be buying that movie because it's incredible. It's an incredible movie. It's an incredible thing. And it's one movie. So it's easy to pitch. This one, as a whole, is a harder sell for me. I don't think it's bad, but I'm here just for the ring. And it's pretty bare bones on that front. I would have rather had more of like a celebration of just the singular film of the ring. But we didn't get that. That's because it's Scream Factory. That's why all of you clamoring that you want Nightmare on Elm Street from Scream Factory. You don't. You think you do, but you don't. You want somebody else to handle that because unless they do it like they did the Friday the 13th one, which I don't think that's the Scream Factory that exists anymore. So, I don't know. But I've been talking for a long time about this. But again, that's what you're going to have to decide. So let me know down in the comments below. Are you picking this up? If you're picking it up, why are you picking it up? Are you one of those people that's just like, hey, I want the ring so bad that I'm going to do. It's like the Paramount Scares thing. I think there were people that are like, I'm going to buy it for Sweeney Todd. I'm going to pay $100 for Sweeney Todd. Is that worth it? Now, that was a set where it's like, if you don't own any of those movies, it's a great deal. But most of us already owned half of those movies. So buying it for one movie, probably not worth it. That's another case here. So again, that's kind of where I'm at. I love the ring. I don't regret buying it. So it's one of those things. I love the ring, and I was interested to watch Rings, and I just was revisiting Ring 2. So for me as a whole, I enjoyed the time that I spent with it. I don't feel like I wasted my money or my time or anything like that, but that's me as a collector / horror fan. So that's the things you're going to have to decide. If you like what I do here and you want some more, some extra tidbits, I do have a Patreon, so go down in the link below and check that out. Got some extra videos up now. It's not like it's anything special that you're getting earlier or anything like that. It's actually new videos, so it's all separate video content that I would not do here. That's fun. I do extra reviews. I just did the War of the Worlds, the original War of the Worlds on 4K, so you can go check that out. If you join that, it's $2 to join, so not breaking the bank, but if you like to see some extra content, some extra physical media stuff, and some horror reviews, definitely go check it out. If you like what we do here, consider becoming part of the collective. I'm going to link some videos for you at the end as always, and I'll talk to you guys in my next 4K review.